We are privileged right now with the opportunity to talk with, he's a professor from UNC Charlotte. He's also the founder of Strength in Numbers. We'll get into that. ESPN statistician, John Tobias. John, it's always great to have you.
Pete, it's even better to always see you. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. I feel like you really mean that. You did. I'm doing good today. I really am.
Oh, I sincerely mean it.
Yeah,
Absolutely,
yeah.
100%.
It's Friday. I didn't get paid though. I'll get paid next week, but it's
What you got?
Friday. Yeah, so
Right?
so
It's
no
Friday.
complaints.
I thought you were going to do the smoky thing. It's
Yeah.
Friday. You don't have no job, but you're good. Life is good for you.
Yeah, you and I, the only problem is we have too many jobs. All right, so here we go. Let me ask you this question. Now, I was just with you last week in New York. You're not too far from there now. You're in Greenwich. I was with you in New York working one of your free camps for Strength in Numbers. We'll get to that in a moment, but right now you're in Greenwich, Connecticut working for NBC. Exactly what are you doing there right now? And I guess for the next several weeks.
Correct. No, I'm here for the Olympics. I'm here for the Olympics. It's through NBC Sports, and generally how they do things, they have like a decent amount of people that they send to Paris, but the majority of the people are actually in their headquartered, more or less like whether it's in Rockefeller Plaza, 30 Rock, Greenwich. More or less doing a lot of like the behind the scenes and even like the talent, was actually here as well. So just taking a part in that, I'm very fortunate to say that this is my fourth Olympics. I started with the 2012 London Olympics. So I would be helping out regarding like the specialty stats regarding certain sports like archery, sports climbing, maybe assisting with fencing as well. It's always very unique because it's new sports that I'm not really used to because, every year I'm always covering the general football, basketball, softball, baseball. But this is different, but it challenges me and it's great once again to be a part of like something that happens every 4 years.
So you're basically in the nerve center. You mentioned that about the majority of the broadcasters are in that building. Who have you
Correct.
seen around there, and who have you seen in past years? You refer to it as campus, really, and it's a who's who of broadcasters, former athletes, and there's got to be a buzz around that place right now.
No, absolutely, 100%. Really, how it is that whenever you have, a broadcast, you have a play-by-play person such as yourself, and then you have like a color analyst. Well, a lot of these color analysts are like former like Olympians. So like whether it's Lolo Jones, whether it's like Tim Howard, former goalie.
Is Lolo
Um,
Jones there?
I believe I saw her not too long ago.
Wow,
Um,
she's one of
Now
my
she was definitely
favorites.
here. She was definitely here for the Tokyo Olympics.
Okay.
But right, I mean, like Tim Howard, seeing him. So it's always like people that are like decorated Olympians, that help give like a really good analyzation for like the sport that they, pretty much worked on like the past previous years. So yes, because of that, you see like a lot of different, Olympians from the past. It's really cool to see, especially like when you're used to like seeing them, like on TV and like, oh, here they are. That's pretty cool. And you're able to like see them in the cafeteria, exchange pleasantries for the most part. And yeah, it's just a really cool experience that I try to just live in the present when it happens.
So you talk about the present right now. Strength in Numbers, the organization, the nonprofit that you started, is thriving. I mentioned I was with you last week. For people who don't know, give them the lowdown on Strength in Numbers, exactly what it is and what it's doing.
Sure, no. So what I do with, primarily with ESPN, I travel as a statistician. So a lot of people don't know this, but whenever you're either in a TV booth or whether you're, calling a basketball game or you're at the scores table, there's always three people. There's the color analyst, there's the play-by-play person, and then beside that person is a statistician. The statistician's job is to convey, information to the TV audience, to give to the play-by-play person. So if you happen to hear somebody say, "Wow, LeBron James has scored, the last 24 points, 18 of those have been dunks or layups," that's somebody right beside them. Give them that information to provide clarity and context. So that's pretty much what I do. And I've been doing it primarily with ESPN for a very long time, over 10 years. Celebrated my anniversary a couple of years ago, but they posted on LinkedIn. I forgot when it was. It was a reminder. I'm like, okay, wow, I guess I have been here for a while. But I said all that to say this is that as long as I've been doing it, I've only seen one other African American that I consider a colleague. And, he used to be based out of Seattle, now it's based out of LA. I've only seen two women, that pretty much do this on a full-time basis. One is in, I believe, Oklahoma City, the other one's in Greenville, South Carolina. And to this day, Pete, I have not seen any Hispanics. I've not seen any Asians. But when I say this, it is important when I say this. that is not necessarily an indictment or referendum on any particular sports network, whether it's ESPN, whether it's Fox, whether it's NBC, whether it's CBS. I just came to the realization where there are a lot of people that represent an underrepresented group and have a love and affinity when it comes to sports and data. They have no idea that these positions exist. No idea. They still think that the only way that they can really get into sports is by being an athlete, former athlete such as yourself, and a coach, and that is incorrect, 100%. So I decided to have these camps every summer all throughout the country to really just bring awareness, have different guest speakers to just say, hey, not only did I not know that these positions existed, this is what I want to do now. So it really causes a lot of, young kids to course correct where, they're juniors, seniors in high school, they have to make a decision. They want to go to college. Okay, yeah, I think I may want to be a business major, may want to be like an accounting major. But then they're exposed to this and then we say, well, wait a minute, now I think I want to like major in sports management or data science or computer science. So under like that analytics umbrella, really STEM more so than anything else. So have three camps, one in Charlotte, UNC Charlotte, where I live and where I teach, one in Los Angeles at the University of Southern California, and then one in New York City at Columbia University. And again, we just finished wrapping up our third summer, and just the impact that it's had on so many different young kids, that's told me that, hey, this is something that I want to do now. I just find it very, very gratifying, and we just want to continue to do it for sure.
And not everybody can do this. I should say do it well. Like there's a level, like guys like you, guys like Ed Sfida we talk about, right? There are like the guys who are on the big shows all the time. But there's so many games, and there are so
Yes.
many stats guys who are just picking it up and learning it. And so on some level, it's not total rocket science if you're a sports fan and you pay attention to the game and you're good with numbers. The access that you're creating with strength in numbers is putting people in a position now to succeed and to evolve and go up the ranks. I love the story about Kevin Seabury and how he was implemented into the stats world last year. And basically he's probably got another 13, 14 games this year. Obviously a young black guy. Give me the background on that.
Yeah, actually, Kevin is a former student of mine. He took my sports analytics class a couple years ago. He's
Guy
also a
dresses
member.
really well. I mean, he's got some of the nicest shoes you've ever seen.
Yeah, shoes a lot of times nicer than mine. I'm like, where's this guy getting this money from? And I don't. There's no judging. We don't ask questions. But no, I'm joking. I'm joking. But no, the thing about it is that Kevin expressed. He's also a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, with his fraternity, that I belong to. I'm part of the Divine Nine, and he expressed to me several years ago to where, hey, this is something that I want to do. And I whenever people are mostly young people from college students to high school students, if they take the time to come to me and they say, Professor Tobias or Mr. Tobias, this is something that I would like to do, I feel obligated, like, to help them. Because when I was that age, I would have liked that, and that would have probably helped me out like a lot more, and as opposed to like how long it took me. And really shout out to the great Carter Blackburn. Carter Blackburn, play-by-play legend, for CBS Sports. He and I, we are very good friends. I worked with him for a long time. He was looking for a spotter, and I had reached out and I said, hey, would you be open to giving Kevin an opportunity? I think he would do a really solid job. He'd be a really good professional, and really just the role as a spotter. And once again, just kind of like peeling the onion or like removing the curtain. A lot of people don't know what a spotter is, but what a spotter is for football, it is a very, very critical job. You're beside the play-by-play person, for football games. So a lot of times you need to go ahead and make sure that you let the broadcaster know who made the catch, who made the tackle, if there was like a strip sack, who made it, who got the fumble recovery. There's so much stuff going on, like on a football, during a football game. It's kind of hard for a broadcaster to know everything that's going on just like that. So it's good to make sure that you have that person to keep you honest. And
And
more
you're a
so
traffic
than
cop
anything,
too, right? You have like people in your ear. You're going to
absolutely,
certain reads
absolutely.
about
But of
it.
course,
Yeah.
number one, you have to be accurate. So, with that being said, Kevin got an opportunity to do that. Last year, he did a really, really good job. He's on board with CBS Sports to do it again this year. And again, it brings awareness. It starts with awareness, which leads to access. Access leads to opportunity. No matter what particular genre you're trying to get into, it doesn't necessarily have to be sports. starts with awareness, which leads to access, which leads to opportunity. That's what happened to Kevin. So he's more or less like a great example for that.
Well, and it's funny, this is all like as far as we know, but you're pretty you know, up to date on the situation. But so now you could say there's three black guys, right? A black, like working in stats and spotting, and you're responsible for 2/3 of them. Strength and numbers 1/3. I mean, truly, and so that is what you're affecting change already with this access. But as far as the camps, I mentioned I had the opportunity to go 2 days last week. You guys were at Columbia, but the day before, you were at the NFL taking a tour. Last Thursday, you were at the NBA. What do you feel like you're changing and accomplishing with these camps? Because you only have the kids for 4 days, 5 days,
Right.
but you really are making an impact. Because being on site, you could feel it, and you could see the needle moving.
Right. No, I think that's a great question. And the thing about it is, to your point, it's not just really just like a sports analytics camp. The thing about it is, no matter what, the thing that young people need more so than anything is certainly what I needed when I was, in college and high school, is direction, guidance, and direction. And really, what this camp is, it is providing guidance and it's providing direction. Because again, like you may have had a certain path that you may wanted to go, or you may not have known where you wanted to go. But I mean, again, just opening the door. That's the thing, opening the door for otherwise that people would not be privy to. Like that is the thing that's more or less like life changing. And they may say to themselves, you know what, thanks, but I think I still may want to do this. And that's totally fine as well. But again, having an opportunity to go to like the NFL, headquarters, they did a phenomenal job of having a panel of so many different people that do so many different jobs. Same with the NBA, which was done also with the New York Mets. And, kids have an opportunity to see this. And any other camp or any other opportunity they may have, it would probably cost them a lot of money because there are other camps that are similar, but they're very, very expensive. And I think they do a really good job. But what if you don't have the resources to do that? What if you don't have the money? If it's a 16-year-old kid, like, and their parent, is either struggling or you come from a single family household, that's not the kid's fault. Now, I mean, if you happen to be like an adult and, there's like money issues, then of course, I mean, there's accountability, but that should not be on the child. So like, let's go ahead and give, that particular person, that particular, kid an opportunity. And that's really what that is. It just really just opens the door and it really gives them guidance and direction and a way to do it.
Well, and some of the responses I've seen from the kids just being around them or the young students, campers, is really cool. What is some of the feedback you have gotten? You just wrapped up your 3rd year of free camps all across the country.
I would probably say the main thing is it's a common theme to where they say, like a common denominator to where they say, Mr. John or Mr. Tobias, like, I did not know that this existed. This is what I want to do now. And another thing is that some of these kids have never even been on a college campus before. And, people said, well, John, why don't you have it like, in a conference center or like at a hotel conference center? No, I wanted to specifically have it on a college campus because I knew that some kids had never been on a college campus. And being on a college campus, a lot of times it's kind of like osmosis. When they see other people that's just a couple years older than them, and you can see, they're handling their business and they're going about their business and they look like them, you kind of feel like, you know what? I can kind of see myself like here. It kind of forces you like to elevate for the most part or get left behind. But no, I mean, I think that the main thing is that they really just say that this was an eye-opening experience more so than anything. And help opens doors. And this is something that they really, really would like to do, like in the long run.
We talk about, what you're doing with strength in numbers, and there's something that a lot of people, it's starting to become more and more visible, but you are establishing relationships with major league sports organizations, major league sports, literally sports, right? Whether it's the NFL, the NBA, MLB, and also conferences and colleges. I'm curious, where are you today as far as, I know the Southwest Conference was on board last year. I know the Phillies were on board last year. You did stuff with the Lions. Who else has come on board, and what's that looking like?
We're going to make an announcement in a couple of weeks. I mean, I can't. I know that's in TV that you call that a tease,
Yes.
but I mean, I really can't just give the information away. But there will be a fourth camp next year, and there will be another, major league team, that we're professional team that we're going to be working with, and it's going to be announced in the next couple of weeks, and it's going to give college students, an opportunity because we have high school, they do the camps, but with college students, when they get a chance to work with teams, pro teams, like whether it's the Phillies, whether it's the Detroit Lions, they're given like a month or 2 month project to work on, and then at the end, they go ahead and go to that particular stadium, they present, and then once again, it helps, increase the pipeline of diversity because once again, they're on their radar. Not everyone can put that on a resume, and it gives them like a really good experience as well. So we have a couple of things coming that I'm really, really excited about, for sure. And I tell you what, it keeps me busy because I think that I know it seems like a lot, and it is, but like I already have two other things that really like occupies my attention from a career standpoint. Obviously, I have a family, but I teach full time at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, and I travel full time as a statistician. This is something, that's more or less my purpose. And yes, a lot of times I'm very tired, but at the same time, once you realize what your purpose is in life, and that goes for anybody, you just feel like an obligation, and it really gives you the incentive to just keep on going. So, just really having fun and just really excited about, new opportunities that's going to pop up.
Take me inside a conversation with somebody from an NFL, NBA, or Major League Baseball front office. The phone rings and they're calling you about strength and numbers. What do they say to you? What's some of the responses you've gotten? And you're not even calling them. They hear about it and they call you.
It's really, really cool. And again, like it's very, very flattering. They just say, hey, listen, we see some of the things, that you're doing, we're on the website, we see everything on social media. What can we do to like be a part of it? Because the thing about it is that if you have a person or people, plural, that share the same, align the same vision as you, then it's easy to go ahead and just like reach out and see what they can do to help change people's lives. It's kind of what Kobe Bryant, once said, the late great Kobe Bryant. He says, while we're here as humans, the most important thing that we can do while we're here, is have a positive impact on other people, especially young people. So really, that is my purpose. And when other teams reach out to me, they just more or less share that same purpose and mission that I do. And once again, it takes a village, hence, the name Strength in Numbers. And when more people come together, I think that the more people that you impact in a positive way, for sure. And we would not be where we are without, teams, that have helped us in the past, like the Phillies and like the Lions and like Major League Baseball, the NBA, the NFL. So we just want to just keep that going.
Let's finish where we started. You and I are so close because it was a relationship born out of sports, right? And then it bleeds into all other aspects of life. Sports is, that was your nickname, right? People used to call you Sports.
In the barbershop, they still call me. Sometimes I don't even think they know my name. I don't think they know my government name.
and that goes,
what's up, baby? How you doing?
Sports. And that goes back to Kevin Seabury. Like, he's a sports nut, and so it's the perfect job. And that doesn't have any color. Somebody who has a total passion for sports. Going back to, your nickname being Sports, and you're a sports nerd just like I am. What sports story right now are you the most consumed by? With all you have going on, is there one thing, because it's hard, is there one, and the media cycle turns over so quickly?
No, that's a great question. Now, keep in mind, this is being taped in the month of July. So a lot of times people kind of perceive July as like, the deadest time of like, the 12-month calendar year. But no, this is different. I mean, training camp, pretty much started, but really it's the Olympics, so that's, pretty much has like my attention for the most part, especially basketball, and I'm not talking about the women's basketball. They seem like they're doing like, really, really well. They're going to be in good shape, but it's not a slam dunk anymore, for men's basketball. We can talk about that because a lot of times the numbers don't lie. And I just don't think that it's a guarantee that we're going to win the gold medal. I hope so, but there's no guarantee. And based on the data, because me, I'm a numbers guy.
Yeah.
It does say that we could be in for a dogfight.
Take me inside the data. We know the strengths of this team. Like, I look forward. You can't as a Sixers fan, I know this. You can't go to bed thinking that Joel Embiid's going to be your guy, but Joel Embiid in certain moments in the Olympics will probably come in and give this team a huge shot in the arm. But their go-to guy, LeBron James, maybe a little older, flirting with 40 years old. those are some positives, I guess. I like LeBron being a go-to guy because he's got such experience in those moments.
Hmm.
And his game is he's got like an international flair to it, like a point forward type operation.
Right.
What are the weaknesses? Where can this team be exploited? And maybe if you think Embiid or LeBron or one of them, those are just things that I see as strengths.
I would probably say that because the interior defense is really good, like with Bam Adebayo and Anthony Davis, and B to a certain extent. I would probably say maybe outside shooting because if you take Steph away, you would have to look at. I mean, because if I were like, let's say if I were France, France they have like great like interior, players in terms of like Victor Wembanyama, Rudy Gobert, so they could say, if you're going to beat us, it's going to have to be from the outside. And let's say if Curry like has like an off night, well then I mean like can you think of like, guaranteed like spot up shooters that that's gonna like knock it down? I mean, yes, you can have some that can get hot, maybe Devin Booker, maybe Halliburton,
Yeah.
maybe Derek White, maybe Drew Holiday. But when you think about those guys, the first thing that you don't think about is like, wow, they can really shoot the three. They're known as scorers more so than shooters.
Yes.
Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. And the international game is a lot like the NBA about scoring from the outside and opening up the floor. Was there a glaring omission that you felt uh, should have been on the team? Anybody?
I would like to have seen Kyrie Irving on there because the thing about it is that a lot of times, you do need to get a bucket and not he has proven that he is one of the most unique and gifted offensive players that we've ever seen
Yeah.
in the National Basketball Association. But like he's been very effective in the Olympics as well. And I think, guaranteed knockdown shooter can, take it to the rack as well. I
Meets
think
the
that
moment. I'm getting honestly, this is getting me excited because Kyrie, you can say what you want about him, but he
Mhm.
meets the moment and he rises to the occasion. He makes the big shot. I mean, again, as a Sixers fan, like that's why Joel Embiid sucks to me, like in that regard, because it's just all. By the way, it's all frustration. I'm just a tormented Sixers fan, but Embiid is a great player, but too many times, like down the stretch, I'm like, who's a bucket getter for us? We don't have one.
Yeah, makes me think about Kyrie, right? Game
Yeah.
7, 2016 against
2016,
Golden
and
State.
even some of the game winners he had this year with Dallas, and
Yeah,
I feel good about him going down the stretch, and I didn't always love Kyrie, but he has stood the test of time as a clutch guy, and you touch on his Olympic experience too. That's something they
right.
could miss.
Well, the one thing about it is that I don't want to be lost on all of this. Is that, and again, this is where like my numbers, because by me being like a stats guy, is that clearly everyone else outside the United States, like they've caught up with us from a basketball standpoint. Well, John, why do you say that? Okay, well, I'll give you two examples. Like number one, if you go ahead and look at, the NBA scores, like who's led the league in NBA, like in scoring for the past several years, a lot of times that's something that is very, very decorated to say, wow, if you led the league in scoring, that's a big thing. Pete, the last time we've had an American lead the league in scoring was 2020, 2021. That was Steph Curry. That's the last American. And I'll take it a step further. The last time that an American has won, the NBA MVP, 2018, James Harden. So that's like over 5 years
Yeah.
ago. So then it's either been Joel Embiid. Yes, he's placed for the Olympics, but he was not born in the United States.
Mhm.
The Joker and Giannis. So that lets you know that hey, here we are in the NBA, and the last time that an American has won the MVP was 2018.
Yes.
Again, that's something, in its totality, the grand scheme of things, to where it says that, hey, everyone else is catching up with the United States. And that's why I say it is not a slam dunk that we're going to win the gold medal. But hoping, hoping,
Your
sending
thoughts on what
positive
if I
vibes.
told you that I blame it's almost like a good problem to have because our dominance and the excitement and the attraction, the dream team in 92 was like a tractor beam to any casual basketball fan.
Hmm.
They captured the world's attention. And it got a lot of other countries being like, wow, let's get great at basketball, kids everywhere. Do you think that had anything to do with this international explosion?
I think so. I think so, but I think that it's more to it than just that. I mean, I don't think that it's one solid thing. I could say that and kind of take the lazy approach. I don't know, lazy may not be the right word, but I just think that there are a lot of like factors that come into play. But no matter what, here we are. This is like where we're at right now. And at the end of the day, you have to produce. And we're just going to see in the next week or two, like what's going to happen for sure.
Are you up to date at all on the Steelers? Like I know you used to follow them like a crazy person, right? And now,
Right.
with again, like life happens and things get in the way of like your favorite team and all that stuff and your ability to follow them
Right.
day to day. Where are you at with the Steelers right now?
I still ride with him, but not as much as I used to. But this is when I say, and you know just as well as I do, even more so, when you work in the media for a long time, you become kind of like desensitized,
Yes.
with the different teams that you really used to like ride with. That's probably the only team, that I still am like a big fan of, but to the point to where like I'm depressed if they lose, or hey, don't call me between these particular hours. I remember when I was a kid, we had, my mom would make us go to church, every Sunday, like at 11 o'clock. I didn't like it then, but looking back, I'm very glad that she
You
did
needed
that.
to go to church with Bubby Brister under center.
I know. And the thing about it is that like around 12:15, I would look at the clock. I'm like, hey, kickoff starts at 1. Like, Pastor, can we like wrap this up? And like it would be like quarter to 1 or 1 o'clock. I would be like pretty pissed off. We're past that now. We're past that. Thank God. I've evolved a little
Yeah.
bit. But no, I still try to watch the games, the Steelers games, as much as I can when I'm not working.
Anything else you want to share about strength in numbers, your mission? You have the floor.
The one piece of advice that I would like to give young people is that, you hear like the old cliche that, good things come to those that wait. I don't buy that at all. I'm all about great things come to those that go out and get it. I'm a firm believer in that no matter what it is that you're trying to do. And I'll just give you a perfect example. A lot of times when I'm teaching, my sports analyst classes at the University of North Carolina, Charlotte, a lot of times I have like different guest speakers come and talk to the students. Whether it's like people from like the NFL, the NBA, ESPN, whatever have you. And I remember one time a producer with ESPN, Paul Irvin. He's great, by the way. He actually produced the game between the Aces and the Fever, and it was his highest rated WNBA game like in history. So shout out to Paul
Yeah.
for that. And he spoke to my class about a year or so ago, and he even like had his business card. And he said, "You know what?" And he told everyone like he's pretty blunt like I am, to where like, "Hey, you know what? I'm pretty sure you have my business card, but and you say that you're going to reach out, but I bet that maybe like less than like 3 of you all are going to actually do it." And you know how many people did it? Because I got connected with him a couple weeks later, and I have like 50 people in my class.
How many?
One,
Wow.
one. That's it. But I say that because, and obviously these kids like sports because they're taking my class. And I tell them, I say, hey, if you don't like sports, you need to drop the class. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty direct, but I try to be like as honest, as much as I can. But I said all that to say this is that when you have an opportunity, like you take it, like you take it to where I just remember to where like I just wanted to be a part of this so bad. I would have been like, hey, listen, my name is John. I would love to be in your shoes one day. What's the best piece of advice that you can give me? Or can we please share contact information? And like that's how you separate yourself from everyone else. But I think nowadays, I think that young people, especially, have such a fear of rejection that really kind of like impedes their development, and they end up choosing something in life, and it may not have been what their life purpose was. So it's all about just like overcoming fear of like getting like rejected. It's no different than where like if you see someone that's really really attractive on one side of like like the room, and he or she may be like looking at you and like, oh, you know what, you have an opportunity, you like to
Yeah.
shoot your shot, and you don't do it. You don't do it. It is no different. It is no different. And it takes them years to figure out like, wow, I should have like really taken advantage of that. And that's really the one piece of advice that I want to give everyone, to your many listeners, that's listening to this, especially the young people, is that like, just like Chris Gardner in the movie The Pursuit of Happiness, if you want something, go get it. Because if you end up having the courage to do that, life has a very, very interesting way of rewarding you. Yes, there will be some rejection along the way, but that's just part of the process. So that is the one piece of advice that I would give everyone, but especially young people for sure.
Well, and I don't want to make this like all about like, well, maybe we can like inspiration, but I mean, I just have my own story. Every good thing that's happened to me was on the heels of something that I considered to be like catastrophic, and some kind of rejection. I can't
Hmm.
believe it. But you just keep going And if you keep going and you surround yourself by the right people and you start doing the right things, like it'll come. But you've got to stay with it like a dog with a bone.
100%. And yeah, you also have to like drown out the white noise because when you figure out something that you love and something that you really want to do, you're going to even have like loved ones around you and say, "Wait, Pete, why are you doing that?"
Yeah.
You know, the chance of you doing that are like slim to, and you know what? That may not be their intention to make you, feel bad or plant seeds of doubt, but it's because like they have the limitations unlike you to where they don't have the ability to dream big and think big. And that's not throwing shade at them, but that's just kind of the way it is. And a lot of times, like their intentions aren't meant to hurt you, but you have to just drown that out. Like, what is the worst thing that can happen? If you like pursue your passion, is that you fail. You don't go to prison. You're not sentenced to like digging
You
ditches.
don't
Like that
die.
is like that's the worst thing.
Yeah.
And like, once when I realized that years ago, that's when I'm like, you know what? I'm changing things up, and I have not looked back, ever since.
You mentioned drown the noise out. You and I get the drop on some interesting stuff with like broadcasters and networks, and we have these incredibly interesting conversations about personnel switches and what people are saying about, ex broadcaster. Sometimes I'm like, I need to like drown out that noise because like there's like I almost like I work hard. Like ignorance is bliss. Like I don't even want to know how many people are out there. Like, you know what I mean? Like stay in your lane,
Right.
do the right things. For me, it's just like stay sober, work my ass off, and let nobody research harder than you because there is so much noise and people out there. I was just listening to the Beetle and Lebitard conversation because she was just on his podcast, and they were even talking about like when they were coming up, like like either somebody went to Northwestern or Syracuse, and like nobody else had a shot. And there were so
Right.
many people that were gunning for every kind of job. Like it is kind of intimidating when you think about that. And that all
Yeah.
goes back to, I bring that up because it goes back to the noise, right? Oh, you
Right.
can't do it. There's so many people out there, you know?
Yes, for sure. Yeah, and I stopped listening to people like a long time ago. To where like if I'm determined to do something, like I really don't care if you don't think that I can't do
Yeah.
it. Like, I'm still going to like, I'm gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
And some people, like kind of mistake that as being just like arrogant. I just think that's just being like really like confident, in yourself. And I mean, like, that's a good segue. I mean, like, and you're like a prime example. Like I've known you for like a very, very long time. You did not go to Syracuse. You did not go to Missouri. You did not go to Carolina. You did not go to Northwestern. Like all of those, like really good, journalism communication schools. I mean, you went to a good school. You went to University of Richmond, but a lot of people would have counted you out. And now, like, look at what you're doing now in terms of like, doing play-by-play. Like with ESPN. You have your own podcast. The Pete Souza Show, and that was through just grit, hard work, and faith, and just really, really just sowing like really, really good seeds. And I mean, like, I'm just confident to say to where like if you had not checked those boxes, you would not be where you are. But since you did that, which a lot of other people just would not do, you've been really, really like rewarded. Like God has really blessed you. So I'm very, very proud to see that. And it's always been cool to have like a front row seat,
Yeah.
to see this for sure.
What did you,
The only thing, just promise me one thing. While you continue to like blow up, and like,
okay.
you continue to sin, just don't forget about the little people.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying,
All
don't
right.
forget about the little people like me. You know what I mean?
Dude, as long as we stand beside each other and Chris Lewis at some point this year, I'll be pumped. We get to work.
There we go.
We get to
There we
work for
go.
the
There we go.
Don.
I still have not seen Chris yet. I need to go ahead and give Chris a holler.
I saw he
People
put something up
just
on
know
Instagram. People that don't
Yeah.
know Chris Lewis, you want to talk about a white hot young play-by-play guy. That's our
Yeah.
guy, Chris
With
Lewis.
CBS, yes,
Yeah.
he is on the rise for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think he's there. I mean, the guy he's going to do a handful of NFL, CBS games
Yeah.
this year again.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. That's the next young star for
Yeah.
sure.
All right, you're a star. Anything else? That's it?
No, that's pretty much it, man. It's always good to connect with you, and yeah, thank you for everything that you've done, for sure. And let's continue to try to like change lives, both of us, like not in a negative way, not in a negative way,
No.
but in a positive way. Let's continue to do that.
And in the next month or so, you're going to restart your podcast with Rogue Media Network, right?
Yes, finally,
Finally.
yes.
And
I got too much going on.
I
It's,
get it. I
It's
get
good
it.
to have a very supportive spouse because otherwise she probably would have
Christy.
left me a long time ago. Christy probably would have left me. What I mean, I don't really talk about like my personal life. What I mean, I never post stuff like on Instagram
Yeah.
about my about Trey, my son,
Yeah.
or Christy. I mean, I just don't. And I
That's
love
actually
them.
pretty normal, I think. I think the rest of us are the outlier. We're the nuts. We are. We are. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But no, no, let's just really keep things going for sure because I think we're doing some really cool things. Just we're kind of like in a changing lives business. And it's not like that we get anything out of it from a monetary standpoint, but what we find is extremely gratifying and just really just sowing good seeds for sure.
All right. That being said, I'm late. I literally have to. I'm 15 minutes behind. I got to get to a meeting, an AA meeting. So we're gonna
Sounds
wrap
good,
up.
man. Well, always a pleasure, man. And
Yeah.
thank you for having me. I appreciate you.
You got it.
All right.